All right, it's time to update the power rankings as we are approaching the middle of July.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're doing it live today. We're Bill O'Reillying it. We're doing it live, and I think we've had our first glitch of the evening. Live ones are fun, aren't they? This is the daily show. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. I'm afraid to touch any button here right now, but I will assure you that my name is Sully. I've been any of you in the chat right now, let me know if you can hear me, because there was a big old glitch on my end. So if you can hear me fine, just post something in the comments to let me know that you're hearing me fine. I feel like I'm doing a college radio station. Can you hear me out there? Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And if you're listening to us every single day, make sure to listen. If you're going to post a comment, put that hashtag Everyday Sully out there so we know you're listening to us every single day. Hey, we're doing this live on the evening of the 9th of July, 2024. I'm letting you know that today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Well, hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you're hearing me just fine. Anyone in the chat, if you can hear me, just type in, yes, I can hear you. Before we get going, and we have the latest updates on the, what do we call this? The power rankings. And as always, these are ranked by the votes from all of the Locked On MLB podcast hosts, of which I am two. I host Locked On MLB and I host Locked On A's. So we got a comment in here. Hearing you loud and clear, says Riley McGovern. Cheers, Sully. Cheers, Riley. Good Irish name right there. The trivia question from yesterday was, who was the last All-Star Game MVP to play for the team that would go on to win that year's World Series? And the wrinkle was that he was not on the World Series roster. Scott Horstmeyer, no surprise, got the closest to the right answer. He said, well, wait, where's his answer? I just had it here. Melky Cabrera was the 2012 All-Star Game MVP when the Giants won the World Series. And he corrected me that Carl Yastrzemski was in the previous trivia answer of most home runs against the Yankees. That's right. Melky Cabrera was on the 2012 San Francisco Giants, was the All-Star Game MVP, was suspended for PED use, and could have been reinstated. And the Giants chose not to, because, as we know, the Giants have to take a strong stance against PEDs. A stadium that was built on the broad shoulders of the appeal of Barry Bonds. I remember my dad, who was the biggest, may rest in peace, my dad was the single biggest San Francisco Giant fan you'll ever meet. And he was furious that Bochy did not reinstate Melky Cabrera, saying it could cost him the World Series. Well, it didn't. By the way, before we get into the power rankings, let's answer some and listener mail here. Fluffhead555 said, I talked about how I was surprised that the AL and the NL All-Star roster didn't have a third catcher. He reminded me that they list Fry as a DH, but he's a capable catcher, so the AL does have three. Fair enough. Carlos Ortiz, XE5EK, which I I guess is his confirmation name, says, do you think Lindor should be an all-star? You can make an argument for him. I'd put Lindor a hell of a lot sooner than I'd put Pete Alonso. I had Nimmo on my list. Mets fans think I hate Nimmo. I just thought this would be a chance to trade that contract. But apparently, Met fans love their Nimmo. Let's see what other there's some other. Oh, I have a couple other ones here. There was where I just had this up here. Ray OO says, I love Nimmo, but I'd absolutely trade him if we could shed his whole contract or just have to play the rest of the season. I don't see that happening. Fresh Hot Water says, this content is so bad. Thanks for the constructive criticism. And there was one person I talked about, you can't spin the earth backwards like Superman and reverse time. Ross Dilworth, 34112, said Superman didn't spin the earth backwards. He was going faster than the speed of light, which Einstein theorized would make time travel possible. Okay. Welcome to Locked On Krypton. Stephen Colatera says, I think my theory of cloning is based on Calvin and Hobbes, and I don't mean the 17th century philosopher. Yeah, when Calvin cloned himself, that was a very funny thing. And finally, Team Big V says, I don't think I would have admitted I barely read the comments. At one point, I think I joked about how I don't read the comments. The fact of the matter is, let me be totally honest with you. I read every comment, every single comment. I look for them. And you know what? If I get a comment, trashing me or anything like that, I giggle. I enjoy reading the comments. So, there you go. In fact, I read all those comments right now. Games are going on right now, but let's go over the power rankings here as voted by the Locked On MLB hosts. Quickly go 30 to 21, the bottom third, and not a lot of surprise here. The bottom one remains the Chicago White Sox, who dropped 6 out of their last 10 games. They were 30 last week. They're 30 this week. The Rockies split the last 10 games, but they still dropped 1 spot from 28 to 29. The falling like a rock Angels fell 8 spots to number 28. They've dropped 7 of their last 10 games, including being swept by the A's, which is hard to do. Believe me, I do Locked On A's these days. They're at 28. 27 are the Marlins, up 2 spots. Hey, good for the Marlins. They're up 2 spots there. At number 26, I think on the heels of sweeping the Angels and bombarding the Baltimore Orioles in that Saturday blowout, are the A's at number 26. Sadly, at number 25, down 2 spots, are the Toronto Blue Jays, who dropped 6 of their last 10 games and are falling into we need to break up the team mode, which is really devastating. The Nationals are at number 24. They were at number 20, staying steady there. They've dropped 6 of their last 10 games and are slowly falling out of contention. The Tigers can pitch and can hit recently, and they won 6 of their last 10, which bumped them up 3 spots from 26 to 23. At 22, down a spot, are the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers, and I have a feeling they're going to sell. And Ranger fans, before you start throwing things at the wall and getting angry, you got your World Series championship. And not all the players are going to be dealt off. But it is interesting that Max Scherzer was a Tiger in the 2014 playoffs, played a bunch of playoffs with the Nationals, closed out the 2021 Division Series as a Dodger out of the bullpen, pitched for the 2022 Mets in the Wild Card Series, pitched in the World Series last year with the Texas Rangers. He could be on, in the last 4 full seasons that we've had a playoff. So he's already done that. In the last 5 full seasons, not counting the COVID year, Scherzer will have pitched on the Nationals, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Rangers, and somebody else, because some contender will acquire Scherzer. At 21 are the Reds, who've split 5 of their last 10 games. That's your bottom third. The Reds could still contend. It may be a long shot at this point, but they could still contend. All right, when we come back, we're going to look at the middle third. And the middle third gets weird because there's some teams that are on the rise for reasons that I don't understand, and some teams are collapsing for reasons I don't understand. Remember, These are not all my picks. Hey, this episode of Locked On MLB is brought to you by our good friends at Booking.com, or should we say Booking.yeah. I just went on earlier this month. Or I guess it was last month. I went on an absolutely fabulous baseball trip. I flew to Buffalo, saw a game. By the way, if you've not been to Buffalo, Buffalo's a beautiful city. Buffalo's really nice. And there's a great ballpark there. The stadium is fabulous for the Bisons. And then I went over to Syracuse, saw the Syracuse Mets play, and then off I went to Cooperstown and spent 2 glorious days in Cooperstown. And each place, I had a fantastic hotel. The hotel I was in Buffalo was right downtown. Buffalo is a beautiful downtown. Then a nice, safe hotel in Syracuse, right nearby this campus. And then a fantastic, gorgeous bed and breakfast, walking distance to the Hall of Fame and to the lake. And where did I get all those deals? I got them on Booking.com. Now, they got hotels, bed and breakfast, whatever you want. And from the hotels that look over the stadium to family-friendly resorts and fantastic bed and breakfasts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. Your summer travel is going to be fantastic. The right stay can make you the fan of any city, including your rivals. Book today on Booking.com or on the site at Booking.com. Did I say Booking.com? I meant to say Booking.yeah. Hey, let's hear from our friends over at Game Time. You know, I'm buying on those tickets to those games, and the best thing to do is to get a great app, and I use Game Time. It's an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball. It makes getting tickets faster and easier. Price of the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And you got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from the seats, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying baseball tickets. I'm going to be checking out games in Anaheim, at Dodger Stadium, in Oakland, in San Francisco. I've already been to Buffalo, already been to Syracuse. And hey, all of you, if you want to see the final Oakland A's game, get on Game Time. Those tickets are, believe it or not, running out. You get flash deals, and you get even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event, and all-in prices. You got all the prices right up front. You get zone deals. Hey, I like this section. They find you the best deal in there. And you got seat views, panoramic view from the seat in the app before you buy. And the purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. The lowest prices. Do you know what they are? I'll tell you exactly what they are. They're guaranteed. Hey, what is your hub for all of your sports takes, news, and everything you need there? May I suggest you make the move over to Locked On Sports Today. It is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programming the biggest sports stories out there. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is what? It's your team every day. All right. Someone put something in the comment section. Hopefully it's not dirty. Jeff Cohen says, at the D-backs game, we'll catch the audio tomorrow. Thanks, Jeff Cohen. And I know you know I don't hate the Mets. I just think they should be making some trades. All right. Number 20, we got the Pirates, who are down 3 spots. They were 17 last week. They've dropped 6 of their last 10 games. San Francisco Giants are weird. They're kind of dancing on the cusp of things. They've split their last 10 games and remain 19 on the list there. The Chicago Cubs are up 4 spots. I don't really understand why. They split the last 5 games. Sometimes they look unbeatable. Sometimes they look downright dreadful. The Rays have dropped 6 out of their last 10 games and are down a spot from last week. They were at 16 last week. They're at 16 this week. As I am recording this, games are going on, and Tampa has a 4-1 lead over the Yankees. We'll get to that in a minute. The Kansas City Royals are, believe it or not, down 5 spots from last week. They were at 11. Now they're down to 16. The fact that they've stubbed their toe a little bit and fallen out of the playoff race means a lot. And the rise of the Red Sox, we'll get to them soon, has a lot to do that as well. This I don't understand. And some of my fellow Locked On, this middle section is really weird. Now, I've said for the last couple of weeks regarding the power rankings that when you get that middle section, it's shuffle time. It's shuffle time because there's a bunch of teams that are just mediocre and are almost interchangeable. But the St. Louis Cardinals have won 7 out of their last 10 games and have really asserted themselves in a crowded National League wildcard race. So naturally, after winning 7 out of their last 10 games, they've fallen 3 spots from 12 to 15. I don't get it. And I'll tell you really why I don't get it in 2 spots. The Houston Astros have won 6 of their last 10 games and are creeping up and they're not looking at a wild card spot. They're looking to aim at the Seattle Mariners. They want to win the division again. They stay steady at number 14. Here's what I don't understand. The Mets are at 13. The Mets are higher than the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a playoff team. The Mets are not. The Cardinals have won 7 of their last 10 games. The Mets have lost 6 of their last 10. But the Mets are up 2 spots while the Cardinals are down 3 spots. Don't come to me. Don't come to me. I have the Cardinals well ahead of the Mets. I don't hate the Mets. And speaking of the Mets are playing the D-backs. The D-backs are up 6 points from 18 to 12. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. I sometimes don't understand life. At number 11, after winning 6 of their last 10 games, the Padres are rewarded by dropping a spot from 10 to 11. So this middle section is banana boats. Don't know what's going on. It's crazy. It's silly. It's bonkers. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the top 10. And while I may not 100% agree with all of the order, I'm pretty solid with the teams that are in the top 10. All right, Prize Picks. Do you know what Prize Picks is? I hope so. You've been listening to this show. Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get on the action today with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community. So you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And Prize Picks is now available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. You know, in the end, it's really that easy. This is just a quick reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's available on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. That's a tongue twister. It just is. So forgive me. It's a live show. If this were a tape show, I would have done take 2 on that. It looks like my buddy Carlos Vargas is in the chat. He says, hello, Sully. Thank you. Happy you and I stopped watching the A's game getting destroyed by Boston. It's going to be a quick show on Locked On A's. Hey, Carlos, thanks for the cross promotion there. Yeah, the A's right now forgot that this game mattered. I'm going to talk a little bit about what looks like a pretty, I'm guessing a solid Red Sox win at this point. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about Mike Andrews on the upcoming episode of Locked On A's. He has a connection to both the Red Sox and the A's. Believe it or not, he won a World Series ring with the A's. He did not win a World Series ring with the Red Sox, and yet his memories are better with the Red Sox. And I'll explain why if you listen to the upcoming episode of Locked On A's. Okay, let's go through the top 10. Number 10, down 3 spots because they were number 7 last week, are the Seattle Mariners. They've dropped 6 of their last 10 games. They're letting the Astros creep back into it. The Mariners need to get a little something. They need to get a little something. Hey, Lawrence Gaggins, what did you write? Oh, for the land. Yes. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. At number 9, staying steady, but winners of 7 of their last 10 games and reading everyone their Miranda rights are the Minnesota Twins. The Twins have had a fabulous week and are securing their spot. And do you know what? The Twins are slowly gaining on the Yankees. The Yankees they're not a division leader right now. They're a wild card team. And the Twins are breathing down their throat. And who else is breathing down their throat? Up 5 spots. The Boston Red Sox are jumped from 13 to 8. The Red Sox have gone from a fringe playoff team to playing like a team that is just destined to have at least an entrance into October. And they just slapped around the Yankees into what was, for Yankee fans, heartbreaking losses in Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox can hit. The Red Sox can pitch. The Red Sox have a dynamic manager. The Red Sox have depth. Oh my God, are the Red Sox good? Who saw that coming? I know I didn't. At number 7, up a spot last week after winning 6 of their last 10 games are the Atlanta Braves. Sure, they're injured, but they're going to make some moves. And Chris Sale he's making a case for his first ever Cy Young Award. It's amazing with all the fabulous season that Chris Sale had in both Chicago and in Boston. He's looking at Cy Young number 1. Who saw that coming if you're a Red Sox fan? At number 6, down a spot after splitting the last 5 games, are the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers have images of defending their central title, and they're playing quite well. Thank you very much. All right, someone's got to explain this to me. The Yankees are at number 5. They're up a spot? They're up a spot. They've dropped 7 of their last 10 games. Not only that, in the last about month or so, they have the worst record in baseball. They can't hit. They can't field. They can't pitch. I'm practically singing an Adam Ant song right now. I can't sing it because we can get into a copyright law, but you know it. You know it. Goody, goody, 2 shoes. I know some of you. I just showed my age. How do the Yankees go up a spot after having a grotesque month? Someone explain that to me. How many New York fans are there on this list? All right. No, 1 through 4, I don't think anyone could have any problem with. At number 4, staying steady are the LA Dodgers. It's funny. The Dodgers went into this year with you got to win the World Series or else. World Series or bust for the LA Dodgers. And it's funny that they haven't felt like, oh my God, they're the dominant team. But then you look up and say, well, they're on pace to win 98 games and win the division by 5. It doesn't matter if you win 111 games or 93. It matters that, if you're the Dodgers, you want to win the division and you want to be healthy come October. And if they do that, no one's going to remember who has the best record in the league. Do you remember you had last year, the Dodgers and Atlanta had the best records in the National League. And you had the Orioles had the best record in the American League. I think they combined for 1 playoff win. No one's going to remember those teams. So the Dodgers could still very well be the champs at the end of the year. At number 3, winning 7 of their last 10 games, and they dropped the spot, are the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are looking good. The Orioles look solid. The Orioles look like they're gelling. Not gelling together because you cannot gel apart. At number 2, Cleveland, up a spot from number 3 to number 2. Cleveland looks like they're going to run away with the American League Central, and they just, you know what? If they get 1 decent pitcher, not even an ace, 1 decent pitcher, this team could win the whole thing. And isn't it odd after all those years where they had great pitching, but couldn't hit? Now they just need a starting pitcher. I'd kick the tires on virtually any veteran starting pitcher. Bring 2 in because you want to, Ranger fans may be mad that they're going to tear the team apart, but I'm telling you, Cleveland fans will be fine if they rent a couple players. Hell, that just hit me right now. Trade for Max Scherzer. Come on. Win your third ring with Cleveland. Max Scherzer could win his ring with Washington, Texas, and Cleveland. How glorious would that be? Well, I'll tell you what's truly glorious are the Philadelphia Phillies. Staying at number one, even though they split their last 10 games, they got back Schwarber. They got back Bryce Harper. And so I guess Harper is going to be on the all-star team. I wasn't sure if he was going to be back in time. And so they were able to withstand those injuries and still, as of this recording, have the best win-loss record in baseball and a 7.5 game lead over a pretty good Braves team. So I forgot to put the graphic up. I forgot to upload the graphic, so forgive me there. But so here are their listings again. Phillies from 1 to 10. Phillies, Guardians, Orioles, Dodgers, Yankees. Really? Brewers, Braves, Red Sox, Twins, and Mariners. 11 through 20 are Padres, D-backs, Mets, Astros, Cardinals, Royals, Rays, Cubs, Giants, and Pirates. And 21 to 30 are Cincinnati, the defending champion Rangers, Tigers, Nationals, Blue Jays, A's, Marlins, Angels, Rockies, and the White Sox. Well, next week will be the final power rankings before the All-Star game. And then after that, the trade deadline is right around the corner. So we got a full slate of games that are going on right now, except we have a couple of the weather has made things wash away for the Royals and Cardinals and for Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox. So the Red Sox could gain a little bit on the idle Twins and Royals. So there you go. So let's talk about the trivia question. We talked a little bit about champions. We talked a little bit about Hall of Fame and my trip to Cooperstown. Who was the last pitcher that is currently in the Hall of Fame to throw a complete game victory to clinch the World Series? The last current Hall of Famer to clinch a World Series with a complete game. That's the trivia question. Put it down here on YouTube or Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter and Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Giving you the power rankings, reading some comments that I always read, and, well, finding out that I know a little bit more about Kryptonian physics. This has been Locked On MLB for the 9th day of July, 2024. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.